What's up, guys? Craig Mack here, Liberty Bell Beekeepers, joined by my wonderful assistant, PA Swarm King himself, Mr. Bruce Rodriguez. Out here in Wyomissing, PA, for a colony. If you want to show them, Bruce, here where the colony's at. Coming in the corner of this house, in between some siding and this stone facade. If you can get a look over here, where they're coming in, they've got a tiny, maybe a half-inch space in between the sheeting and the stone that allows them to get up into one of the joist bays that supports the floor of the house. That's all they needed. There's a half-inch space to get up and into that cavity. Joist spaces are amazing for bees. They absolutely love them. They're warm, they're dry. Usually they're insulated, so they have everything that they need in them. And as you can see, these bees have made full use of it. Now this colony, we've been kind of trying to pinpoint where it's at for the last couple of minutes, like 45. So let's go inside and take a look at what I first saw. So the initial thought was that they were coming into that space and then coming up into this wall cavity, because they said they could hear the bees at times. And it turns out when you use a thermal imager, if you can see the outlet on that, there really isn't registering any heat besides normal ambient heat. But as you pan down, there they are. Now where that is specifically outside is on top of the cinder block wall that is the foundation of this garage and first floor. There's a set of joists that run on top of that stone. So that's right where the bees are at. So we kind of went downstairs and we cut a hole in the garage. So let's go take a look at that. Garage, I took some measurements. Let me see that camera, Bruce, so you can bring them up here. I took some measurements and got an approximate of where the bees are at. And it would be right in this area. But as you can see, no bees. And then I realized, oh look, there's another space over here. A much more inconvenient space. And it's joists that run above this cinder block wall and are going to make it difficult to get the bees out. And I'm not sure you can see them back in there. My flashlight's a bit bright. It's kind of washing them out, but there they are. Very inconveniently placed, and brand new wax right there. This colony's only been here about 4 or 5 weeks, so it should be relatively smooth as far as a cutout goes. Probably won't get much in the way of wax. I don't think they'll have much in the way of honey, but who knows? A month is enough time for them to sack some of it away. So we're going to make a cutout here underneath of the eave. As neatly as I can in kind of a difficult position. I'm going to try to find out where my joist is, and that way I can cut along the joist itself and replace that material quickly and easily without having too much to repair. And that'll also make it much easier to seal back up when it comes time to do that. So I'm going to cut this open and then we'll check back in. I'm cutting away from the house a little bit further because I don't want to disrupt this mortar. I want to leave that in place and leave that seal from there to there intact. This wood seal I can fill with wood filler or caulk or anything else easily and not disrupt that seal. Whenever I'm doing these, I'm always thinking about these cuts and making them, you know, as easy to repair as possible, but also as little disruption to a facade like this, because it just becomes more intricate to try to repair it. So I just try to make my repairs as easy as possible.
making that cut a little bit further away is where my entrance is. I want to keep them going in and out of that entrance, just to kind of keep them out of my way while I'm doing the removal, because I'll continue to use that space that they were using. Just tape out of the way.
That was a feeble attempt at a trap out by some clown whose name rhymes with Druce Rodriguez. We're not going to say who that was, though.
Forget about those guys.
Friggin' idiots.
Not what I had in mind for a reveal.
We're doing the big
So we got
reveal.
1/2 inch plywood here, which is normal sheeting. And what people in the construction community refer to as rotten cotton. This is blown in insulation that is a mess, messy, dirty. And there she is. There she is. Now we saw some new wax on the other side of this. That's some pretty used wax right there. You thinking these showed up, what, Bruce, 5 weeks ago? Something like that?
6 weeks, yeah. Look at that perfect cut.
Yeah, I could probably went a little wider. I missed my joist. I have some repair lumber though. I'm gonna have to bring out. And like I said, this is an amazing spot for bees. Warm, dry, insulated. Nice neighborhood, lots of trees, lots of gardens. I'm just trying to see how far back this goes. That's my shaky camera work here. All in all, the bees so far are not overly aggressive or anything. They're treating us just fine. I don't know where they were coming in. There must be a space on past this entrance. Or maybe they're coming up and over. Not quite sure yet. Won't probably be able to determine that until I get back past this wax. But yeah, a lot of bees. A lot of bees. A few minutes, got all set up. Got everything I need in place. Smoker's lit. Scraping tools are ready to go. The only thing I think I need now is my gloves, which are around here somewhere. And then we're going to start to get to work with the bee vacuum. Now, don't always use the bee vacuum. I have my last couple of removals because it's just been way easier to do it with the bee vacuum. And because of that, it also makes transfer and everything else that much easier. The Swarm King took a little break to grab some grub and some drinks for us. So I figured I'd show you my setup here. So I have my bee vacuum box set up here, and I'll show you how this works. Now it's hooked up to a regular shop vac, which is going to be the source of the power for the suction for the vacuum part of itself. What it does is you connect that to this top chamber. Now this top chamber has 2 inlet holes, 2 inches, 2 inches. One of them is screened off and has a door. And this is used to adjust the amount of suction that you need. With this long hose, found that this being wide open, it worked just enough worked really well for not only vacuuming the bees up, plenty of pressure, but it also allows me to keep it away from me and cut back on the noise a little bit. So the vacuum draws from this chamber. This chamber is screened on both sides. I can pop this open for you. So there's a screen there, and my inlet for the bees is up there. So it uses this whole chamber and provides gentle enough suction to yank the bees down and off of the comb gently enough to where it doesn't kill them when they get put into this box. Because the amount of suction is spread across the entire surface of this box. It doesn't draw all the bees into one place where they can overheat. It allows them to move around a bit and still provide that suction. And that's what makes these a no-kill bee vac. It really allows you the opportunity to give them space, airflow, and not get overheated. So what I'll do is I'm going to work my way around, start removing bees from the end combs here, and try to work my way in as gently as possible. Now the first couple of combs sometimes are a little tricky to get out because they use as much of the space as they can use. So it's not always easy to get those first couple out, but once you're able to get in from the side of them, they're much easier to remove, and you can remove bees from the whole front and back surface of the comb as you're extracting the wax. I always keep a bucket of water, 2 buckets here, one for honey wax and honeycomb, and the other for raw wax or nectar wax or wax that I'm not going to be able to band into frames. I did set myself up a table down here. What I'm hoping is I can enlist a swarm king to give me a hand with maybe rubber banding some comb into some frames, and that way I can pull some brood out of here. So I set myself up a little table with my rubber bands, a couple of boxes, extra boxes with empty frames in them that I can use for banding in frames. I know that some of these frames are old and dirty, and I do not care, not one little bit. Some people go through, cleaning frames, and that's great. But for this kind of stuff, I don't mind using these old frames. It doesn't bother me, because eventually that wax will get cleared out and new frames will get installed. But for these jobs, it's perfect. So I'm going to get started with the bee vacuuming, and I'll check back in with you as I get into the combs.